So despite what the experts may think of this watch,
Wanker's watch.
And all the Submariner expresses, in my opinion, is boring. Yep, not on my wrist.
I have just obtained a Rolex Submariner Date. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for checking out my channel. My name is Shane Walls and I make my living as a fine art nature photographer who truly depends on his watches when I'm out in the field photographing nature. I use my watches for timing my exposures, so they're an intricate tool in my photography. For those who are new to my channel, for the last couple months or so, I've been looking for another watch to help take a little bit of the wear and tear off my Rolex Explorer 2. I take these watches out in the field and I really do beat them up, and I want them to last a very long time, decades upon decades. So I think having a second watch, again, to spread out the punishment, would really help. However though, I have a bit of a confession to make. Yes, getting this secondary watch to help spread out the wear and tear between two watches was a big reason why I got this watch. But also too, I've been looking at the Rolex Submariner for a long time now, and something pretty big, a monument, a milestone, so to say, in my life just happened. So I wanted to mark that with a watch. I never thought of myself as a watch collector. When I got the Explorer 2, I thought that was one all be all. But thanks to you and showing me all these watches, giving me ideas for other watches, I found out just how cool and fun it was to look at all these watches, and it's amazing what they can do. But back to it. I recently, as you all know, I'm a fine art nature photographer, but also too, it's such a tough industry. I took on little freelance side jobs just to keep, consistent income coming in. I used to work for Motor Trend magazine, keeps my foot in the door. Recently though, I have just quit all those other freelance gigs, all those other jobs, and now I'm just gonna fully 100% concentrate on my fine art photography. So that is another reason why I wouldn't call it my grail watch, but it's such an iconic watch, and I've always been into watches. It's always kind of been in the back of my mind to have a Rolex Submariner, and I think now is the perfect time.
Boring.
So now that I'm gonna have a bit more free time on my hands, we're gonna devote a lot more time and effort towards this YouTube channel and a lot more videos on this watch, out exploring, out being out in nature. So make sure to hit subscribe. We got some videos coming out on this watch real soon. I'm taking this out into the woods, give it a full test. There isn't really a waiting list for these Submariners anymore, so I'm gonna do a video on that. We got a lot of other stuff coming, so if you wanna see that, make sure to hit the subscribe. So, first impressions on this watch. When I was originally looking at the Submariner, I was thinking more of getting maybe one of the older ones with the aluminum bezel, because I really like how that aluminum scratches and that look, almost vintage look it gives the watch. Because really the first impression, I've tried this watch on many a times, but just now and seeing it side by side my Explorer, it's just so pretty. It's almost too pretty, and I'm looking forward to getting some scratches on it, beating this watch up. Given this watch might be more of my dress watch too. We'll have to see how that goes, because I think these watches, the Submariners, look so good beat up, and I'm almost in too much of a hurry to kind of beat it up, to really get it away from, like the experts were saying, getting away from kind of the boring watch it is, to really, but it's not a boring watch. It's probably the most iconic watch in the world, and I don't know how you can really call something boring who's really shaped the industry of dive watches. So you might just be talking about looks, but just incredible watch. It's so pretty. Sticking with the looks, I opted to go with the black bezel. I think it's a little cleaner looking, as well as being a little bit more under the radar. The green just kind of screams Rolex. This black bezel with the black dial and just stainless steel, I think you can kind of go under the radar with this one. It is a little shiny and pretty, like I've been mentioning. But also too, there's 100 other watches that do look like this, and I'm all about kind of being under the radar while having, one of the best watches, best made tools that'll last decades, generations. So this was my best option, I feel. Black bezel, black dial, oyster steel. I can kind of hide it a lot easier, go under the radar than the green bezel or obviously the blue bezel or precious metals. As well as I was offered the green bezel, but I would have to wait another 2, 3, maybe a month before I got it. So it was just a win-win-win all the way around to get the black bezel. Want to breathe some new life into your home or office? Why not do it with some fine art nature photography? Through my exclusive fine art photography, I celebrate the beauty and grandeur of nature, but also the solitude and peace that I feel when I'm outdoors. Limited to only 18 prints per image, I use the best possible cameras when capturing that perfect moment in time, allowing for amazing image quality on any scale. Industry-leading printers with top quality materials to create these nature scenes as if you were there witnessing them for yourself. Check out my website for more information on these award-winning photographs. Another reason why I decided to go with the newer version of the Submariner Date is the bigger size, the bigger case size. This is measuring, well, Rolex says it's 41, it's actually about 40.5. And I'd like a little bit bigger watch, and after wearing the Explorer 2, this feels like such a small watch to me. But I like that, as well as the upgraded movement and the 70 hours of power reserve. So even though, as well as also to the price, I was able to get this through my AD obviously, so it was a lot less expensive than getting an older model. Also too, better with magnetism, just an overall better, newer, better movement. You can see it here on my 7-inch wrist. I think it's a perfect fit. It doesn't quite have the presence of the polar dial of the Explorer 2, which is good in a way, but it's just such, and I'm gonna keep saying this, such a pretty watch. I almost don't feel worthy of it. With the white gold hands, the indice markers, and just such a good looking watch. It might not be as elegant looking as the no date option of this, but with how much I travel and just being all over the place and me really hating to use a cell phone, I truly need a date on my watch. And it is interesting looking at this with the large crown, with the triple lock crown on this and the date. There's a lot of weight on the right-hand side of this watch, and it's taken me a little bit of getting used to, because just the flow of it, it's just taking me, it's again, good looking, but the flow of the watch, there's so much weight on the right side, but it does kind of lean itself more towards a tool option or a tool watch in that way, which I really like. I love the look of a good tool watch. So in the way this, I'm not talking myself into it, but it really is kind of the perfect tool, pretty watch, if that makes sense. It looks like a tool, it feels like a tool. It's almost too pretty to be a tool. But in my watches, and I've mentioned this so many times in my other videos, my watches need to be able to go anywhere, be at home doing anything. And the Rolex Explorer 2 is a perfect example of that. I can take that out to Death Valley in 125 degrees, and that night wear it to a high-end event, a gallery unveiling. This one almost more so. We'll have to see. This would probably fit a little bit better in a high-end event over the Explorer 2. Only time will tell. I'm excited again to have a rotating bezel, help me time my hikes and stuff like that, and just the noise it makes. Such a great noise. Also too, another reason I picked this watch is their glide system, their quick glide system, I think is what it's called, for quick adjustments to the bracelet. So really when I'm out and about, I don't need to have a rubber strap. I can just take 2 clicks, 20 seconds to make it be able to fit over my wetsuit, and that's gonna be a huge help. No tools needed. There's so much more to cover about this watch, and I'm so excited about it. But its true home is out in nature, out in the wild, and we're gonna put it to the test and really see how much of a tool watch this Rolex Submariner Date really is. I'll dive into all the reasons why I chose the Rolex Submariner Date in future videos, but for now, putting the beauty aside, putting aside if you think it's boring, putting all that aside, whatever you think, putting that aside, the main reason why I got this watch is this is supposed to be very tough, if not the toughest Rolex watch, toughest tool watch out there. It has so much history, it has proven itself over and over again. And that's really why I went with the Rolex Submariner Date on this. I am looking forward to punishing this thing, putting it through hell, and it'll stay reliable and accurate for decades upon decades, with just a little bit of servicing every 10 years, as well as being a good looking, pretty watch. Thank you so much again for watching. I really do appreciate it. We have a ton more videos coming out about this watch, so if you want to see them, please hit subscribe, give us a thumbs up. It really helps us out. Thank you again. Cheers.
Boring.